Have you ever woken up on a day that looked painfully ordinary, not knowing that life was quietly rearranging itself behind the scenes? Have you ever walked past something that could save you, simply because you thought it didn't matter? What if today was supposed to change your future, but you nearly missed it? Kobina Mensah was a 24-year-old young man living in the small dusty town of Carranza, where the sun rose early and the opportunities rose rarely. Every morning, he walked the same road past the same faded houses, the same arguing traders, and the same tired faces. Nothing ever changed, or at least, nothing seemed to. On this particular morning, the sky was dull, the air dry, and Kobina's spirit even drier. He had no job, no direction, and his dreams had shrunk so small they barely fit inside his own chest. As he walked toward the market to help his mother sell roasted plantain, something caught his eye. It wasn't loud. It wasn't shiny. It wasn't even new. It was just a poster, half torn, flapping weakly in the dusty wind. A seminar about building your future, one decision at a time. He looked at it once, then dismissed it. Seminars were for people who already believed something good could happen to them. Kobina wasn't one of those people. But as he walked away, something tugged at him. A feeling. A whisper. Go back. He tried to ignore it. He didn't have money. He didn't have clothes nice enough for a seminar. He didn't even have hope. Why should he go back? Yet, he stopped walking. His feet refused to move. It was strange, almost scary. Why was he hesitating? Why did he suddenly feel like if he kept walking, he would lose something he didn't even have yet? He turned slowly, looking at the poster again as it danced in the wind like it was calling him. Kobina took a deep breath. Should he try? Was this foolish? Was this destiny? Or was it just one of those random moments that meant nothing? His heart raced. His palms grew sweaty. And then, he walked toward the poster. That one step, small, shaky, and uncertain, marked the beginning of everything that was about to change. But he had no idea. And that was the suspense holding his life by the throat. As he prepared to attend the seminar, a strange question hovered over him like a shadow. What if this one moment decides the rest of your life? What if the person who changes your destiny is someone you never planned to meet? Someone you could easily ignore? Someone whose voice feels like a door opening? Would you recognize them, or walk right past your future? The seminar hall was nothing like Kobina expected. It was crowded, loud, and filled with people who looked more confident than he felt. He almost turned around and left. But just before he did, he saw her, an elderly woman wearing a yellow scarf, sitting alone in the front row. Her eyes were sharp, observant, and strangely warm. Kobina didn't know why, but he felt pulled toward her. Something about her presence was calming. Familiar. As though she understood something he did not. During the seminar breaks, she looked at him, nodded, and smiled softly. It was unnerving. How could a stranger smile at him like she knew him? After the seminar ended, people rushed out, discussing their breakthroughs and dreams. Kobina stayed seated. Unsure. Confused. Empty. That was when the woman in the yellow scarf walked toward him, slow, steady, and deliberate. She stopped right in front of him and said, "Young man, what you fear is not failure. What you fear is believing in yourself." Her words hit him harder than anything he'd heard his entire life. She sat beside him and told him stories of young people who found purpose not by waiting, but by choosing. She spoke with wisdom, fire, and a calm conviction that made Kobina's chest tighten. Her words cut through the doubt he'd been carrying for years. But just as he was about to ask who she really was, she stood up, smiled, and said, "You'll meet me again when you're ready." Not before. Then she walked away. Kobina stared after her, breathless. Who was she? How did she know exactly what to say? Why did he feel like she had planted something inside him, something that was about to grow? But he didn't yet understand the weight of her presence. He didn't understand that this stranger would become the turning point of everything. The suspense grew in his heart like a quiet storm. Have you ever lost something that forced you to confront who you truly are? Have you ever watched the life you knew slip away and wondered whether it was tragedy or transformation? Days passed, and Kobina returned to his routine. But this time, something inside him had shifted. His mother noticed it. His friends noticed it. Even he noticed it. There was a quiet fire burning in him, small but undeniable. But life has a way of testing flames before they grow. One afternoon, as Kobina and his best friend Kwasi sat by the riverside, their usual place of escape, an argument broke out. What started as a small disagreement turned into a painful outpouring of truths. Kwasi accused Kobina of thinking he was better than everyone else since he'd attended the seminar. Kobina accused Kwasi of dragging him down with constant negativity. Harsh words flew. Words that could not be taken back. And then Kwasi walked away. Kobina was left alone by the river, his chest tightening, his throat burning. The river reflected his pain, shimmering like a second version of himself, broken, confused, and lost. He threw a stone into the water, watching the ripples carry his anger away. But as the sun set, an unexpected calmness washed over him. He realized something heartbreaking but true: not everyone who starts your story is meant to finish it. He cried silently. Deep, trembling sobs that came from wounds he'd ignored for too long. And as tears hit the water, something inside him broke, not in destruction, but in release. What was happening to him? Why did losing Kwasi feel like losing a part of himself? Was this moment a setback, or a setup? He didn't know. Not yet. But fate was just beginning its work. What if the next lesson you need is hidden in a stranger's story? What if the person who guides you next is someone society ignores? Would you listen, or walk away too quickly? One night, unable to sleep, Kobina wandered into the marketplace. Most traders were packing up, fires burning low, smoke drifting lazily into the night sky. As he passed a food stall, he noticed an older man sitting by the fire, alone, humming a soft, sorrowful tune. For reasons he couldn't explain, Kobina felt compelled to sit beside him. The man didn't look up. He simply said, "Sometimes, fire burns to destroy, and sometimes it burns to teach." Kobina froze. Those words echoed the same mysterious depth he'd felt from the woman in the yellow scarf. The man spoke of his youth, of mistakes, losses, and the moment he realized life never changes until you do. His voice carried pain, but also wisdom. "The world will break you," he said, "but it is in the breaking that you find what you're truly made of." Kobina listened for hours, captivated. Why were strangers telling him truths his own mind had hidden? What was he being prepared for? As Kobina stood to leave, the man finally looked at him, eyes glistening with a strange familiarity, and said, "Your journey has begun, son. Don't turn back now." Son? Kobina shivered. Who was this man? Why did his words feel like pieces of a puzzle Kobina didn't yet understand? Suspense wrapped around his thoughts like smoke around the fire. What do you do when life offers you two roads? One safe, familiar, and small, and the other terrifying, uncertain, and full of possibility. Which one would you choose? Weeks later, Kobina stood at the edge of the biggest opportunity of his life. A youth program in Accra had accepted him. A chance to learn skills, meet mentors, and build the future he secretly dreamed of. But going meant leaving his mother alone. Leaving Karanza. Leaving everything he knew. His mother supported him, but her eyes carried fear she didn't speak. His father had died early. She had only him. Would he abandon her, or would he stay, and abandon himself? The night before his departure, Kobina sat outside, staring at the moon, tears gathering in his eyes. He felt torn in two directions, both painful. His chest ached. The suspense in his heart was suffocating. He could stay, and remain safe. Or leave, and risk everything. At dawn, he packed his small bag. He walked to the bus station. And he froze. His legs wouldn't move. His throat tightened. His heartbeat pounded against his ribs like it was trying to break free. Was this the right decision? Would he regret it? Would leaving destroy him, or save him? And then, he remembered the woman in the yellow scarf. The man by the fire. Their voices echoed softly around him. Kobina stepped onto the bus. The moment the engine roared to life, his new destiny awakened too. What if the life you dream of is waiting on the other side of one brave moment? What if your destiny isn't far away, but one decision away? Are you willing to take it? Arriving in Accra was overwhelming. The noise. The traffic. The intensity. Kobina felt swallowed by the city. But he didn't break. He remembered why he came. He attended every class. Studied every lesson. Worked twice as hard as everyone else. Weeks turned into months. And Kobina grew, sharper, wiser, stronger. One afternoon after giving a presentation, a familiar voice called out. Kobina Mensah. He turned. It was her, the woman with the yellow scarf. She smiled and said, "You're ready now." Kobina realized something in that moment. She wasn't just a stranger. She was a guide. A destiny shaper. An angel in human form. She handed him an envelope with details of a scholarship. A scholarship that would change everything. Tears filled his eyes. He looked up at the sky, remembering the river, the fire, the arguments, the choices, the doubts. Every moment had led here. Every pain had been preparation. Every stranger had been a stepping stone. He felt something rise in his chest, hope, power, destiny, and as he walked into his new future, one truth echoed loudly, one moment. One decision. One step, can change your whole life forever.